In a move that could significantly impact the United States' competitive edge in the ongoing tech race with China, the Trump administration has announced a substantial cut to funding for a key agency responsible for enforcing semiconductor export controls. The decision to slash 10% of the budget for the Commerce Department's Bureau of Industry and Security (BIS) has sparked serious concerns among lawmakers, particularly as it comes at a time when the U.S. is intensifying efforts to curb China's advancements in artificial intelligence and other critical technologies. On March 26, 2025, it was revealed that the White House effectively canceled $20 million in funding for BIS as part of a broader reduction of $3 billion in federal spending. This reduction, highlighted by Democratic Senator Patty Murray, is particularly troubling given BIS's pivotal role in regulating exports of advanced technologies to nations like China. This is not just a budget cut, it sends a message to our adversaries that the U.S. is weakening its defenses, remarked Senator Elizabeth Warren, who along with other lawmakers has strongly criticized the funding freeze. The implications of this funding cut could be far-reaching. BIS is tasked with implementing trade restrictions that aim to prevent China from acquiring technologies that could enhance its military capabilities. These restrictions have become increasingly stringent since President Trump first took office, with the Biden administration further intensifying efforts to block China's access to advanced AI chips and manufacturing tools. As Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick emphasized, "We are committed to using every tool at the department's disposal to ensure our most advanced technologies stay out of the hands of those who seek to harm Americans." The timing of these cuts raises questions about the U.S. government's long-term strategy in the tech competition with China. While the administration argues that it is exercising budgetary discretion, critics warn that such reductions could embolden China's ambitions in AI and other technological fields. In a letter to the Office of Management and Budget (OMB), the senators have demanded clarity on the legal basis for this funding freeze and its potential repercussions on national security. As of now, OMB has not responded to these inquiries, leaving many in Congress and the tech industry anxious about the future of U.S. export controls. Meanwhile, the tech landscape remains volatile, with ongoing discussions surrounding the fate of TikTok, the popular social media platform owned by the Chinese company ByteDance. President Trump has suggested that he might be willing to ease tariffs on China to facilitate a sale of TikTok, showcasing the delicate balance of negotiations involving national security and economic interests. As ByteDance faces a deadline of April 5 to divest TikTok or face a ban, the stakes are high. "This is not just about a social media app. It's about safeguarding our data and our democratic processes," Trump stated, underlining the administration's persistent concerns regarding Chinese influence in American technology. As these developments unfold, the need for U.S.-China cooperation on AI is becoming increasingly apparent. Stephen Orlins, president of the National Committee on United States-China Relations, recently emphasized the potential for collaboration in artificial intelligence, suggesting that both nations could benefit from avoiding duplication of efforts in this critical area. However, the current trajectory of U.S. policy, characterized by funding cuts and protective tariffs, poses significant challenges to fostering a cooperative relationship. Looking ahead, the intersection of national security, trade policy, and technological innovation will continue to shape U.S.-China relations. As the Biden administration and Congress grapple with the implications of recent funding decisions and ongoing negotiations, the outcome will likely define the future of America's competitive stance in the global tech arena. The coming months will be critical as stakeholders from both sides of the Pacific navigate these complex challenges, seeking both to protect their interests and to maintain a balance in a rapidly evolving technological landscape. In the complex tapestry of global geopolitics, the rivalry between the United States and China continues to shape the landscape, with significant implications for countries around the world. Among the regions caught in this geopolitical crossfire is Latin America, a territory historically defined by its diverse political landscape and economic aspirations. A recent study by the Real Instituto Elcano sheds light on the nuanced stances of Latin American countries regarding the U.S.-China rivalry, revealing that their geopolitical alignments are far from neutral. For years, the narrative has suggested that Latin American nations strive to maintain a delicate balance between the two superpowers, wary of aligning too closely with either side and risking economic fallout. However, the data presented by researchers Ernesto Talvi and Gabriel Leva Garcia challenges this notion, indicating that the geopolitical behavior of Latin American countries is in fact driven by pragmatic considerations rather than a desire for neutrality. The analysis is grounded in voting patterns at the United Nations General Assembly UNGA between 2001 and 2023, focusing on resolutions related to values such as human rights and sovereignty, and economic interests, particularly trade and development. The findings suggest that while countries like Cuba, Nicaragua, and Venezuela align with China and Russia on most issues, the majority of democratic nations in the region lean towards the US and its Western allies when it comes to values. Specifically, an impressive 86.3% of these countries voted with the US and the EU on resolutions concerning human rights, while only 2% sided with China. Conversely, when the focus shifts to economic interests, the data reveals a strikingly different alignment. A staggering 92% of democratic Latin American countries voted with China on resolutions pertaining to trade and economic sanctions, often influenced by their economic ties with the rising superpower. This duality illustrates a complex geopolitical calculus where nations engage with different blocs based on the specific issue at hand, rather than adhering to a rigid ideological framework. The democratic countries of Latin America align themselves with one bloc or the other according to their national interests, Talvi and Garcia assert. This pragmatic approach is evident even among governments of varying political ideologies, with left-leaning and right-leaning administrations displaying similar voting patterns on these critical issues. For instance, Brazil and Mexico, two of the largest economies in the region, follow this trend closely, showing significant alignment with both the US on values and China on economic interests. This evolving geopolitical landscape has broader implications. If the West aims to counter China's growing influence in Latin America, it must offer compelling economic alternatives that resonate with the region's aspirations. The European Union's initiatives such as the Global Gateway Project and modernized trade agreements with Latin American countries exemplify efforts to create a competitive economic environment. Conversely, China's Belt and Road Initiative continues to attract numerous emerging economies, fostering deeper economic partnerships that could challenge Western influence. As geopolitical tensions mount, the responses of Latin American nations will be critical to watch. The war in Ukraine serves as a recent case study where most democratic countries in the region aligned with the US and its allies in condemning the invasion while still refraining from supporting economic sanctions against Russia. This pattern underscores the delicate balance these nations must strike in navigating their interests amidst significant global pressures. In conclusion, the geopolitical stance of Latin American countries vis-a-vis the US and China is not one of neutral equidistance. Rather, it is a sophisticated interplay of national interests reflecting the region's diverse political landscape. As both superpowers vie for influence, the future of Latin America will hinge on its ability to leverage its unique position. The ongoing evolution of these dynamics will undoubtedly shape the region's role on the global stage in the years to come. In a significant development for regional security dynamics, Japan has officially inaugurated a permanent Joint Operations Command, a move that amplifies its military capabilities and strengthens defense ties with the United States. This strategic shift comes amid rising tensions in East Asia, particularly regarding Taiwan, and has drawn considerable attention from military analysts and officials in neighboring China. The establishment of the Joint Operations Command, which integrates Japan's ground, maritime, and air forces, is viewed by China's state-run military publication PLA Daily as a clear indication of Japan's intent to enhance its offensive military capacity. The command aims to facilitate faster and more coordinated responses to potential crises, especially concerning Taiwan's democratic status, which remains a contentious issue in Sino-Japanese relations. The establishment of the Joint Operations Command signifies that Japan-US military coordination has entered a deeply integrated new phase, noted the PLA Daily Commentary authored by experts from the People's Liberation Army Academy of Military Science. This analysis reflects a broader apprehension within China regarding what it perceives as a US-led strategy to encircle it militarily. Such perceptions have heightened concerns over regional stability and mark a departure from Japan's post-World War II pacifist constitution. Chinese officials have expressed alarm over Japan's expanding military capabilities, particularly regarding its potential for preemptive strikes against enemy missile installations. This development aligns with Japan's revised national security strategy introduced in 2022. Which emphasizes counter-strike capabilities without clearly defined operational limits. The implications of these strategic decisions could reshape the security landscape in the Asia-Pacific region and challenge existing military balances. In a related context, the Chinese Defense Ministry has confirmed that military exchanges between China and the United States are progressing as planned, signaling an ongoing dialogue despite rising tensions. Wu Qian, a spokesperson for the ministry, emphasized the necessity of mutual respect and peaceful coexistence as foundational principles for developing stable military relations between the two powers. We hope that through joint efforts the military relations between China and the US can achieve healthy and stable development, Wu stated during a recent press conference. The juxtaposition of Japan's military enhancements and the ongoing dialogue between China and the US underscores a complex web of geopolitical interactions in the region. As Japan embarks on this new military initiative, the implications for its relationship with China and the broader international community remain to be seen. The potential for increased military assertiveness raises critical questions about future stability in the region as well as the efficacy of diplomatic efforts to manage these evolving dynamics. Looking ahead, the situation will require careful monitoring as Japan continues to expand its military capabilities while balancing its historical pacifist stance against the backdrop of rising regional threats. As the strategic chessboard evolves, the interplay between military readiness and diplomatic engagement will be crucial in shaping the future security environment in East Asia.